Hi guys, I hope you're having a great evening. I wanted to come on here to talk about smiling even when you don't feel like it, or especially when you don't feel like it. So sometimes we just go through so many emotions and they can be extremely overwhelming. We can feel quite low and we can get into this mode of like almost panic and overwhelm, and it just feels like we're not quite in touch with our surroundings in the way that we can control our feelings in them, and we can express ourselves in a way that is perhaps loving and uplifting. And if you are like me, that's really something important to focus on, because sometimes or I remind myself I'm really here to help, assist, support others, especially women. And I last year I just felt a shift happening, and I saw so many women going through almost the same thing that I was feeling and manifesting their feelings into their reality. And ultimately, I started doing the same, right? Manifesting a lot of the feelings that I was having and creating a reality that I really, really wanted. Doing something like that and shifting the status quo that we live in doesn't come without suffering, without pain, without struggle, because we're used to something. We are used to living in a way that sometimes is not making us happy, but we are comfortable in that unhappiness. And it is a struggle to step out of that and really create a shift in how we feel, right? Like we are trying to, we are moving all the pieces of our lives to try and find happiness, because where we were before, we know it, we're familiar with it, but it doesn't fill our soul. You may have found this in your work. You may have found this in your personal life and relationship. You might have found this in your friendships and family. You might have found this in any part of your life. It happens. And I think there was a big shift of energy last year where we moved into this age of Aquarius, where water is flowing, things are moving, there's no stagnation anymore, a very feminine energy. And a lot of women have felt that, and a lot of women have come to me and said, I feel like something is happening. A lot of women have been facing that dark night of the soul, that best friend that hides in the subconscious and at some point comes out swinging its sword and saying it's time to shake things up and change because you're not fulfilling your potential. Boy, did I hear that voice. And in those moments where we go through waves, right? Sometimes it just feels so amazing. Like last year I had these massive highs, really, of energy. This year I had it. The 8th of April was like the biggest surge of energy I had. That meditation, it just came from viscerally, from my root, rising through my solar plexus and heart. Like it was just this expansive moment. And that week was amazing. I was on a massive high, and then I crushed down. And in those moments of crushing down, that is where we want to smile. June was a little bit like that. It was a little bit of ups and downs of the waves. July was incredibly hard. It was one of the hardest months I've ever had. Maybe not the hardest, because I had harder ones like throughout the year. As I said, there's like highs and lows, but July felt really, really intense. And sometimes I find myself going through these emotions, and I will be honest, the more I'm working on my hormones, the more I'm actually so aware of where I am in my cycle, that I feel that sometimes like, okay, the hormones are kicking my butt. And I'm sure a lot of women feel like that, because a lot of women have told me, like, we have these massive highs and then we have these super lows. And one thing that we really need to do when we have those is to smile, even when we don't want to. Even when the first thing we want to do is actually cry, bring yourself to smiling. Smile. Find one thing that is positive in your life and you're grateful for, and smile about it. Find one person that you really you are attached to emotionally, that makes you feel connected. It can be a person, it can be a dog as well. I mean, for me it's Marley and all my other dogs, but Marley's always with me. She's like part of my soul. And I smile and try to get oxytocin as much as you can. Now, if you don't have anyone in your life that you can get that from, although I suggest highly to get a pet, whether it's a cat or a dog, please do if you're alone, because they are really they are a beautiful way to get oxytocin, and that's a really real hormone that we need, especially as women. But also, it's companionship, makes you feel like you have a purpose looking after someone that is so, innocent and cannot cope without you. But equally, it reminds you that you're not alone, and find that joy and that smile for even a few seconds, a few minutes, and try to repeat. Trust me when I say that alone shifts your whole energy, shifts you from a place of sorrow and stagnation into a place of gratitude and possibilities and positivity and not feeling overwhelmed. I know it's hard, I know it. But we have the strength to do this. We have the strength to move upwards. We have the strength to create. We have the strength to expand. We have the strength to really, really go deep and change any narrative we created in our lives. And that is really the superpower that we have. So wherever you are at, however you feel, smile. Now, a powerful way to do this is go in front of a mirror and smile at yourself, because just looking at yourself smiling makes an immense difference, and you will see it. I want to hear about it from you guys in the comments below. I want to hear how you felt when you smiled at yourself. I want to hear what you felt when you were grateful for the love that you have for your pet, for someone in your life, even if they're far away. I want to hear all this positive outpouring of love that you have for yourself, for the people that you really care about and care about you, and shifting our low moods into these really important high vibrations that we absolutely need to thrive. This is not about forgetting about the problems and not dealing with them, by the way. We're not bypassing here. We gotta deal with the shit. This is the dark night of the soul. You cannot get away with it. But it's to remind yourself that even through the hardest times, you can still be positive. So I want to hear all about it. Thank you. I love you, ladies.